Yo, this is Christian Madrid here on Madrid Videos with y'all. Next up, I got another video for y'all, and this time, I know it's 2024 already, but let's rewind a little bit to 2023 so I can share with y'all the Madrid Movie Awards for 2023 films. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe to Madrid Videos to your friends. Let's get to it now, yo. Okay, here we go. So this is the 2023 Madrid Movie Awards, and I just want to give some special shout outs. So we'll start off with the movie of the year. If you guys saw my last video where I ranked the top 50 best movies of the year, you would have seen that Oppenheimer is number one. Now let me elaborate a little bit on why I believe Oppenheimer is the best movie of 2023. For the simple answer, it was simply the greatest movie experience I had all year. Maybe one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. I saw it in IMAX. It was a packed crowd. It was just amazing to see. It was a 3-hour biopic. I never thought I'd see the day would be in IMAX. It was just a wonderful experience. And not a single minute of the movie was wasted. Not a single moment of the movie felt slow. It was just a brilliant movie. Fantastic performances, fantastic directing. The cinematography is out of this world. Just everything about that movie. The story is so fucking good. It was just a great movie all around, and I didn't feel that about any other movie than Oppenheimer in 2023. Now, the most underrated movie of 2023. There was a lot of underrated movies, but I think the most underrated and slept on movie is definitely Beau is Afraid. Is it weird as shit? Yes. And we will be getting to that in a minute or so. But Beau is Afraid, yes, it is. While it is weird and not for everyone, I think it's completely underrated as it was one of the most original movies that came out this year. Ari Aster did a fantastic job directing it. Joaquin Phoenix gives one of his best performances, I think, even ever. Definitely top 5. And the movie is just all around great. It might not be for everyone, but for those who can handle a 3-hour weird as fuck, mind fuck of a movie, that will be for you. And most overrated. Most overrated is kind of hard for me to decide because while I like this movie, I think the most overrated movie is Barbie, because do I think it should have been the highest grossing film of the year? No. And if it came out 10 years ago, would it have been? Probably not. But since 2023 was such a shitty year for the big blockbuster movies and a lot of the big budget movies flopped, Barbie took the realm. It was a good movie, yes. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very funny, but I don't think it should be considered as one of the best of the year. Definitely not a top 10, and I don't think it should be a Best Picture nominee, which it probably will get at the Oscars. I think that's a little bit too much hype on it, and the greatest feminist movie of all time, I don't think that either. But nonetheless, Barbie was a great movie, but it is a bit overrated. Best action movie of 2023. Definitely John Wick 4, hands down. I think it's one of the greatest action movies of all time. It is the best of the series. It was action-packed, filled. It was just amazing scene in the theater. It's almost 3 hours long, but it's definitely worth your time to see it. The action's nonstop. It's packed. It's bloody. It's violent. It's just terrific. The story's good too, and I think it's a good farewell to John Wick. I hope, if they make a 5th one, I hope they do it justice. But if they ended it here, I would be glad with that too. John Wick 4 was terrific. The best horror movie of the year, I gotta say, it was Talk to Me. Talk to Me was a fantastic horror movie. It creeped me the fuck out. It was a good movie. It was original. It felt fresh. While this year had some good horror movies, none felt more original and more, scary and terrifying as Talk to Me. And it came from the brilliant minds of the YouTubers, Raka, and they did a good job. And I hope they keep on doing more movies. I hope they're going to do a Talk to Me too, which that would be exciting to see. But Talk to Me, it was a brilliant movie. Now, funniest movie of the year, I gotta go with Poor Things. It's not like the most full-on comedy, but this movie is just so fucking funny. I was laughing in my seat. It's odd, weird, quirky comedy, but it lands, it hits every time. It's some of the most fucked up shit. It's dark comedy as well, but it is just so fucking funny. Me and the other people in my theater when I watched this were dying laughing, and definitely a funny-ass movie. For the best performance of the year for males, it is tough. It's between Cillian Murphy and Bradley Cooper. But at the end of the day, I think I have to go with Bradley Cooper for Maestro just a little bit because, he's got more of those Oscar-worthy moments in the movie. And it took him 6 years to conduct a 6-minute scene, which is fucking terrific and fantastic. So I got to get in the best performance of the year for males. And for females, I got to go with Emma Stone. Poor Things, I don't think any other actress, maybe even ever, let alone this year, has ever been so fearless and so powerful and passionate about her sexuality in a movie. And she definitely does it in this movie. She's fearless, and she just gives a terrific performance, and she should definitely win her second Oscar for this. Director of the year, I got to go with my boy Christopher Nolan. he just doesn't miss. This is one of the best movies he's ever done in Oppenheimer, and he definitely needs to win that Oscar for Best Director, and he kills it. He does stuff that no other director can do. He can make a 3-hour biopic, black and white, about the atomic bomb that made almost $1 billion box office. How the fuck is this not going to be the best director of the year? He's changing the game of cinema for the good. Best screenplay, definitely Poor Things. The story and the dialogue is just so great. It was tough between this and Oppenheimer, but at the end of the day, I think Poor Things is, more funny. Obviously, Oppenheimer's not intended to be funny, but I think Poor Things is better with its dialogue and its comedic timing and just its story. Even though I like Oppenheimer as a movie better, but Poor Things is a little up on the screenplay, which it was so tough. Weirdest movie of the year. Now we're back to this. I gotta go. Definitely, Beau is Afraid is the weirdest movie of the year. Maybe one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. Any movie that's got a big 6-foot giant old, maybe 10-foot penis definitely will be the weirdest movie of the year, maybe even ever. It is so fucking weird. Not only that, there's lots of other weird and uncomfortable scenes in the movie, but some runner-ups, obviously Poor Things and Infinity Pool. Those were some other weird movies that came out this year, but Beau is Afraid to make those look like Disney princess movies. And saddest movie of the year. It is tough. It is between The Iron Claw and Sound of Freedom. Those are very sad movies and very sad stories. But at the end of the day, I think I have to go with Sound of Freedom, because Sound of Freedom, it made me cry in the theater, just seeing what kids have to go through. And it's unfair that kids are being sex trafficked every single day. It's total bullshit. And, it just made me feel, I couldn't imagine what these parents, what these kids are going through. It's just so horrible, and I'm glad that this movie, Sound of Freedom, brought that issue to light and made people pay more attention and bring more awareness to it. And for the biggest surprise of the year, this was a movie I didn't think I was going to even go see in 2023, but I'm glad I saw it, and this is one of my favorite movies of the year. It was in my top 10. Godzilla -1, definitely the biggest surprise of the year. It was a masterpiece, Godzilla -1. It was great. I never thought I would like a Godzilla movie this much, but when I went to go see it, I was completely blown away. The visual effects, the special effects, cinematography, everything, and the action scenes were brilliant in Godzilla -1. This is by far the best Godzilla movie ever, and that was the biggest surprise of the year for me. The biggest disappointment of the year for me was Exorcist Believer. I went in, I expected a really good horror movie. I thought this was going to be on level with the original Exorcist, but fuck, I was wrong. I was so wrong about it. The Exorcist Believer was a total shit show. The story was awful. The acting, other than Ellen Burstyn, was awful. And it was great that the movie brought her in, but it just seemed like it brought her in just for some shitty cash grab. It felt like she was completely useless. And they fucking, I don't like what they do with their character in the movie. It's just they completely shit all over the legacy of Exorcist and shit on her character. And just the movie was fucking awful and kind of woke too. I didn't enjoy the movie at all. And I expected it to be scary and edgy like the original Exorcist was, but it wasn't. It was just a shit show. The movie experience of the year, I said it earlier, Oppenheimer. It was the best theater experience I had going, and I saw lots of movies, over 50 movies in the theaters, and the Oppenheimer, none beats that movie experience. It was terrific. Probably the worst movie-going experience of the year, it was probably seeing Insidious: The Last Key. There was a lot of kids that just wouldn't shut the fuck up. I went in with a lot of teens, and they were just being loud and obnoxious. And I also went to this cheap $3 theater in my town, which the seats are awful, and, the screen's okay, but that was definitely the worst going movie experience of the year, seeing Insidious, the Red Door, not Last Key, the Red Door. And finally, the worst movie of the year. It was tough between Expendables 4 and the Marvels, but I think I have to go with the Marvels because the Marvels was just a disaster. The story is fucking awful. You had to see 4 or 5 different Marvel projects before you even seen this movie to understand it, which is totally stupid. It should be, this is supposed to be a sequel to Captain Marvel, so you only had to see Captain Marvel first. But nope, you had to see a bunch of these other mid to shit Marvel projects in order to understand this. And it was just an awful movie, and the acting was awful, the story was awful. Even the CGI and visuals were fucking dog shit. The action was dog. The villain was, oh my gosh, the worst MCU villain ever. Just the Marvels was bad. All the way, and I don't recommend that movie to anyone. That was the worst movie of 2023. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are the 2023 Madrid Movie Awards. I hope y'all enjoyed me talking about these movies, giving some special shout outs for the end of the year. Till 2024, I know it's going to be a good year for movies. Let's see how it is. Have a good day, y'all. I'm out. Madrid Videos.